This is a recording of the speech that I gave at the press launch of the Martin Fisher Foundation campaign to make HIV stigma history. I'm recording it here and putting it on the podcast, just so if you're interested, you can hear what was said to the influencers and the press that were invited to the original launch. So, here we go. It's the call for action. So, people here today, you've seen the content, you've seen the videos, and your question no doubt is, how can we help? It's very easy. Many of you are here today because you hold some influence in our society, and we want to tap into that influence. We're not asking you to beat our drum for us unless you want to. We just want you to pass the message along. If 6 degrees of separation is true, then by asking you to ask others to pass the message on, etc., then pretty soon the message should grow to a crescendo. And that's why we're using the thunderclap. So far, we have managed to target over 2 million people, but we need more to make our voice heard on the internet. Instructions on how to join the thunderclap are in your presentation packs. It should take you no more than 2 minutes. So why have we used a StigmaSaur? It's not a dinosaur, they're all dead and gone. It's not a StigmaSaurus, that's a dinosaur, also dead. It's a StigmaSaur. It's all about stigma, and they are everywhere. This one is the HIV StigmaSaur, and this is what he does. He learns, he thinks, and he changes. He lives mainly on Twitter and tweets daily all about things relating to HIV and HIV stigma. He tweets around the myths of HIV. Follow him, it's really quite interesting. You have seen the films about HIV stigma. Now you're looking at what HIV stigma does to a person, to me. From the day of diagnosis, 10 years of isolation, fear of going out, fear of being insulted and humiliated publicly and privately, a breakdown. I made poor choices and some reckless behaviour. I was saved by intervention from the Elton John unit nurses, by Phil Henshaw, Colin Adams from Anna Bamford's team, and the Lawson unit nurses and doctors. Far too many for me to name them all. And yeah, I really do mean saved. What a waste of resource for one person, all because of HIV stigma. If it costs around £350,000 for meds for one HIV patient in a lifetime, then you can probably add another 25 to 30%, and that's my guess, for mental health care, loss of earnings, benefits, etc., all because of stigma. I now work as a peer mentor through the Sussex Beacon and at the Lawson New Patient Clinic. And I'm humbled that people living with HIV allow me into their sometimes fractured lives, where we work out together how to get them back on track. Suicidal thoughts, isolation, rejection, humiliation. Most of the sessions include one or more of these words. Sometimes from people living with HIV for over 20 years. And then the newly diagnosed, often with fear written across their faces, often for no real reason other than stigma. Those last few sentences could have been replaced with me just standing here saying stigma, 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 until you all get bored of hearing it and switch off and don't hear me anymore. And that's what's happened. People just don't listen to what they're saying to other people, and they need to, now. The point is, stop the stigma, make me feel okay, and let the doctors and nurses get on with repairing the people that really need them. HIV used to make us ill. It doesn't anymore. People make people with HIV ill, and this campaign aims to address that. I'm involved because I'm sick of feeling unclean and morally repugnant by groups in our society, including some within the gay part of society, including some gay influencers, people like Andrew Pierce. So I'm outing myself. I am the StigmaSaur. I have been living with HIV for 15 years, and I'm sick of feeling I have something to be ashamed of. I'm using the StigmaSaur account as my mask, my costume, to voice what I feel and what I think. But it's me, Alan Spink. And you know what? There are thousands more of us out there that need an HIV StigmaSaur to tell you what we think and feel and how society hurts us on a daily basis. So please go from here with the campaign in your minds And consider that this evening you met someone who lost 10 years to stigma. Don't let anyone else lose years, all their lives. Tell your families, your friends, tell your business colleagues what you've seen and heard today. Make sure you join the 2,250,000 already joined and become part of the roar. I would just say it's been a total privilege for me to work with this amazing, talented and dedicated bunch of people who are working so hard to make my life better. I really love all of you. And finally, just to say, this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning. We are all Stiggy now.